Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 13, Episode 52, overall 712 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph, Ottawa. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of EVs, electric vehicles, as well as Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969 and has been a big part of this show as an advertiser for the past 3.5 years. I hope everyone's doing well on this chilly Friday, May 22nd, 2026 here in Southern Ontario. And I'm looking forward to my guest today. This is his 5th time on our show, and he is well known in Detroit and used to call the Plymouth Whalers games. And now he's the co-host of the morning show on Woodward Sports. And he's a big Wayne State University guy, and he's the voice of the Wayne State Warriors football team. And we're going to bring on Sean Baligian right now to talk a little bit about the Detroit Pistons and a little bit about the dumpster fire team called the Detroit Tigers right now, who are a mess. So we're going to bring on Sean Baligian right now. Good afternoon, Sean. How are you?
Always a pleasure, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
I'm keeping busy right now with my freelance media work. I'm covering social events, and then now the CFL's back, and just so much going on right now. It's a great time of the year for sports, except for the Tigers in Major League Baseball.
What a mess. Yeah, you said it. I can't add much to it. It is a dumpster fire. And I mean, it's so much more. I know a lot of people around here, some of the apologists want to say, well, it's Tarek Skubal. Well, that's part of it. And they want to say it's Glaber and Baez. Well, that's also part of it. They have a bad bullpen. They have a couple starters who have been flammable. They have a lineup right now where literally nobody's hitting in the lineup except for Riley Green. And this has been a little bit longer than just this recent stretch. I mean, people forget they finished down the stretch last year 9-22 and allowed the Cleveland Guardians to steal the division. And they're picking up, where they left off in the regular season last year, this year. I mean, it has been ugly. No other way to say that.
I was going to start with the Pistons first, but the way the Tigers are playing right now, Sean, I'll be honest, I don't think they never addressed any of their issues in the offseason. And then obviously Scujo and then 15 guys getting hurt, but you can't use that as an excuse. This team just never addressed their needs in the offseason, and now they're 11 games under 500. Now, some of the guys are like, hey, the Philadelphia Phillies were 10 games under 500, and now they're back to 500, but I don't know if this team is capable of getting even back to 500.
I agree with you, and I don't think there's a quick fix there. I think in the offseason, everybody and their brother knew it would be in their best interest to add a bat or two. And, Scott Harris, a line that he's getting, murdered for here, is, well, it may look the same, but just because a lineup looks the same doesn't mean it is the same, and everybody kind of stopped when they heard that and was like, what the heck was that? Unfortunately, it's not only been the same, it's been worse, and that's including bringing in McGonigal, who, while he's cooled off, I mean, he still has fantastic overall numbers. And as I said, Riley Green's been exceptional in this month, and yet here they are. I mean, across the board, everybody, and I mean everybody, struggling in that lineup in the month of May.
One thing I wanted to ask you too, I know the Toronto Blue Jays, who won the American League last year, are struggling too, and they've had their share of injuries, but I feel they're more apt to to get back into a playoff spot than this Tigers team. I know they're only 9.5 behind the Guardians, and the Guardians did it last year as well. But this offense is horrible. And I got criticized the other day saying this team might be as bad as the 2003 Tigers that lost 119 games. They're not even there's nothing good about this team right now to cheer for.
It's the lack of fundamentals. It seems like every game there's some kind of fielding gaffe or base running gaffe. Almost every game. I mean, it really is. It's amazing when you think about it. Are they as bad as their record indicates? Well, you know what? Over the course of about half of a season, they've been well under 500. So I think at some point in time, you have to sit back and say, well, maybe they are what their record indicates. Obviously, they're waiting for Skubal to get back. But then the interesting thing comes up. What do you do with Skubal? Do you trade him at the deadline? What do you do with Casey Mize, who is finally putting it all together? He is really having very quietly a really good year. And I think the one thing that kind of hurt him, and you saw him improve it last year, but really improve it this year, is he's not putting guys on base like he used to. That has been contagious with the staff. I mean, Jack Flaherty in particular, walking guys, giving up hits, et cetera, et cetera. He's not really putting on guys on base to get in trouble. So, that's the good. If I had to sit back and say that there's anything good, it's the emergence of Casey Mize. But like I said, then you run into a situation at the end of this year, Chris, where all right, well, do you hold on to them and risk losing them at the end of the season? Whether it culminates in a playoff run or not, which I don't know how anybody could use the P word right now. Or do you think about making a deal at deadline? So it's going to be really interesting to see what the next couple of months hold.
The Tigers are very lucky because I'm going to be honest, Sean, other than Tampa Bay, the American League has been bad. I've been following baseball for 50 years, and other than Tampa Bay, I know the Yankees are over 500, but they're up and down, and the American League West is under 500. The Tigers are still technically in a race for a wild card, and there could be a team that's under 500 this year that gets into the playoffs in the American League if things stay the way they are.
No, I agree with you, and the interesting thing about it is that doesn't necessarily include the Central Division, because I think a couple of years ago, a lot of people, it was fool's gold when you saw 3 teams make it out of the Central Division, because you had a historically bad White Sox team in the division that everybody feasted on in the division. So I think that made things look maybe better than they were. Right now, that isn't the case. There are a couple bad teams. Make no mistake about it. The Royals are bad. The Tigers are obviously bad. But White Sox are surprising everybody. I mean, look what Murakami's done. It's incredible. And obviously the Guardians just do what the Guardians do. They're amazing. They just keep getting it done. I respect them from afar. I can't stand them, obviously, as a Tiger fan. I think any Tiger fan would say that, but I respect them from afar. But obviously, Chris, I think as well as I do, and your listeners out there know this. Listen, the economics of baseball today, a team like Cleveland, even with all the success the Milwaukee Brewers have had, there's no reason to believe that they're going to go win a World Series. It always seems like the cream kind of rises to the top in regards to how much teams are spending.
Same with Tampa Bay, too. I find the Guardians are very similar to Tampa Bay. They don't have a big payroll, but they seem to know how to develop and produce good players. But long term, I don't think they can win a championship. And that's another thing, too, Sean. It looks like there's going to be a lockout or work stoppage in 2027.
I don't know how baseball can continue down this path, Chris. I really don't. I don't. I think they're going to have to get things fixed. I think you've been hearing about this for a couple of years now. What kind of cap is it going to be? Is it going to be a hard cap? Is it going to be a soft cap? Chris, guys like you and I are old enough to remember when the NHL and the NHLPA going back to 2004, no way are we going to settle for a cap. No way, no how. That's one time when you're talking about bargaining, the owners were right. Things were getting out of control. And since then, I think you've seen the league for the most part go like that. Obviously, different economics when you're talking about the National Hockey League and you're talking about Major League Baseball. But they have to get things under control, because I mean, here's the crazy thing: the Tigers are 10th in payroll, and they're still hundreds of millions behind the top end. I mean, that's incredible when you think about it.
And even the Red Sox have had to cut payroll too, which surprises me. And they're not happy there as well. But honestly, Sean, I do see a work stoppage, and I'm just hoping it doesn't last a year and wipe out a season in the World Series. And also, too, I don't want to see scab players as well, because remember 1995, Sparky Anderson actually stepped down or kind of refused to manage the Tigers with scab players, and the NFL's had it too. And nobody wins. The players lose, the owners lose, and most importantly, the fans lose if they lose a year off. And with the Professional Women's Hockey League coming to Detroit, the WNBA coming back to Detroit, baseball shuts down for a year or two. People are going to go to other sports. There's so many options nowadays.
Yeah, I can't help but think back to the poor Montreal Expos. That was the year it was all coming together, and they were the best team in baseball. And, I think the problems went beyond the strike, but certainly the strike didn't help things out, and I know a lot of people say, well, that was effectively the end. No, I think there were other parameters that were in place that made it difficult for baseball to last long term. Chris, I don't know if you were ever there. I mean, that stadium was an absolute dump. I mean, it really was. Stade Olympique was an absolute dump. So there were a lot of variables that went into it. But what transpired in 1994 certainly didn't help it either.
By the way, the Quebec government is spending $900 million on a new roof for the stadium. And I'm thinking, if they're serious about getting Major League Baseball back to Montreal, and I think with the right ownership and a brand new stadium, I think Montreal could be a team. But why would Major League Baseball come back to the Olympic Stadium just because they've got a $900 million new roof? To me, that's a waste of money. They should have just, if they were serious about bringing baseball back to Montreal, they should have spent the $1.5 billion or whatever to build a stadium for a future Major League Baseball franchise.
Yeah, it was a unique spot. It was in a different part of town, so to speak. But it was, from the Olympics, and a lot of people in the time that it was built, circa 76, thought it wasn't the nicest place. Well, you fast forward 25 years later, and everybody and their brother was talking about what a dump it was. And I had the fortune of being there a couple times. There was absolutely no kind of ambiance there. And when you got out of the subway system there, it looked like the walls were going to fall apart and everything. It was a really unique situation. And one, I agree with you. I think baseball could have survived there, but that was a part of that puzzle, is finding a way to get a new stadium.
By the way, I have a viewer watching. He's been on my show as well, and he's media in Washington. His name's Adam Bertucci. He says this might be closer to the NBA. What that means is the players will eventually give in because the owners have the money. I live in the D.C. metro area, but I'm glad Major League Baseball came to D.C. from Montreal. That said, move the Miami Marlins to Montreal. And that's another thing too. The Marlins and Rays, especially the Rays, nobody wants to go to games down in Florida.
Well, that's another place. I haven't been down to Miami. I've been down to Tampa. That place is an absolute dump. You want to talk about a bad place to see a baseball game. And I'm not one of these guys. Baseball should be outside. I think there are some decent places. I always liked Rogers. Was there too much cement? Yeah, but the ambiance outside, in particular, I thought was a really cool thing. Now, I haven't been since they have renovated and everything. I've heard good things, but so that's not an anti-indoor stadium type of thing. You were talking about dumps. You were legitimately talking about dumps, and that definitely worked against the Expos.
The Rogers Center, they just spent $400 million in renovations. The outside of it still looks like the 1980s, but the inside of it, they did a really nice job. And the Jays are now selling out every game, and they've got the younger fans coming that aren't necessarily baseball fans. They've turned it into like the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, a must-see event for people, even if you're not a fan of the team. So the Rogers Center they did a nice job with the rentals. If you get to go down to a game there at some point.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new additions, but that was something. yours running, it's about, I'd say about 3 hours and 50 minutes from where we live. And that was one of the trips that we made during the course of the year. I would take my son and later my daughter to different games and everything. And we always enjoyed going down there to Toronto.
Sean, I wanted to get back to the Tigers here too. I got to get your thoughts on this. Is AJ Hinch the right manager long-term for this team? And do you feel the team could make a switch by the All-Star break if this team continues to struggle the way they are?
I think, you know what? I have two, contradicting answers to those questions, but I'll explain why. I think, yes, he is the right manager for this team. But yet at the same time, could the Tigers make a move? 100%. And I think that comes back to Scott Harris. A lot of what ails this Detroit Tiger team falls on Scott Harris. It really, truly does. I think the bullpen, I think if you look at Scott Harris trade deadlines the last 3 years, it's one thing to do nothing. It's another thing to hurt the team. And last year, I contend, and I have the numbers that can back it up, that he made the team worse at trade deadline. He went and picked up Finnegan. Now, it's not his fault that he got hurt down the stretch and everything, but he added Morton. He added Paddock. They were both dumpster fires. I mean, disasters. Both guys that they had to flat out release and everything. So it's not often that you could say a general manager bought and legitimately made the team worse. So, if things get really bad, could Scott Harris, in an attempt to cover his behind, throw AJ under the bunch and blame AJ for a bunch of the things that ail the Tigers? Well, I think so, no doubt. But AJ is beloved by the guys. Obviously, his success speaks for itself. I think the one thing that AJ does that a lot of the new generation managers do, I think sometimes it's the overthinking stuff. I lost my mind last year. It's a playoff game. And he decides that he's going to pinch hit. He's going to pinch hit Riley Green with Jahmai Jones. And I don't care. I really don't care what the advanced stats say. I don't care how well he does against lefties, how well he does against righties, how well he does on a spring day in partly cloudy skies, okay? In no world do you take Riley Green out of the lineup and put a guy in Jahmai Jones with as many career at-bats as Chris Pomey and Sean Baligian. No way do you do that. And I think AJ has a tendency to overthink stuff like that sometimes. Now, does that mean it's a quote-unquote fireable offense? No, I'm not saying that. But that's why I say it's kind of a contradictory answer, because I think the one thing that we've learned about Scott Harris, and I think you're going to see it play itself out this year, is he is going to make this team out of his guys. He's going to get out a lot of the previous regime guys. He's going to bring in his own guys. He's going to bring in his own prospects. And maybe part of that is he's going to bring in his own manager as well.
One other guy who should be on the hot seat too is Chris Ilitch. The Red Wings haven't made the playoffs in 10 years. That's another story. And this team, I know, has made the playoffs 2 years in a row, but the expectations were this team was supposed to contend for the AL Central and be a contender in the American League, and it's far from it. And I think Chris Ilitch should be under scrutiny too.
No, and you know what? He is here. There's no doubt about that. He is here. And it's interesting because, like I brought up earlier, what's crazy about this is, the Detroit Tigers are 10th, literally 10th in MLB, Chris, in spending. Well, that's the good news. The bad news, when you go to the upper echelon, just go to 5th overall, Toronto's spending almost $60,000 more than them, and then you got Philly, who's a good $7 million above that. You got the Yankees, who are like $25 million past that. You got the Mets, who are like $50 million past that. And you got the Dodgers, who are like $40 million past that. So I think that ties in with what we were talking about earlier. I think a baseball lockout is imminent. I do. I think we're going to get one. The question is, how long is it? Because they've got to do something about these salaries. They do in these the teams spending $435 million.
One player I wanted to bring too. He's I just can't understand him. There's times where he's been great. Spencer Torkelson. How much longer do you put up with his? He's just never lived up to what he was supposed to be.
I agree. It seems like, Chris, at least from my vantage point, every time somebody starts to write off Torque and you go, no, 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 really, this is it. Then he goes on some kind of heater, right? That's always kind of been Torque's MO, but I don't know. Just one man's opinion. I think the Spencer Torkelsons of the world, I think there are a lot of guys in Major League that show some pop in the bat, that are going to get you the home runs, and they're going to be mid first baseman because his fielding isn't good, and they're not going to give you much than that. I think there are a lot of guys in the league that they could put in there. He's never going to live up to his draft status. You know, I know he's had a couple 31 home run seasons, but this is a guy that beyond that. You've seen him be streaky. You've seen the averages be very low. You've seen the on-base percentage be very low. Although, at least to his credit this year, I'll give him a little bit more credit. While the average is below 200, at least he's got the on-base percentage over 300. Again, not a lot to write home about, but no, I agree with you. I don't know what the future holds for Torque. I don't think there's much of a future here. I really don't.
Last question about the Tigers, Sean, because I wanted to bring up the Pistons too. I want to get your thoughts. Is it time yet for the Tigers to call up some of their top prospects and see what they can do? Or do you think that would be a mistake?
I would love to. I don't think they operate that way. I would love it. It would be great to see, in particular, Max Clark. It would be fantastic. I think, that's a guy that just might help what ails this Tiger lineup. I can hope all I want. We can hope all we want. I just don't think that's in the cards. I don't think that's something that Scott Harris is thinking about in any way, shape, or form.
And the Tigers are in a bind with Tarek Skudrow. He's coming off another injury, and then his contract's up, and then you got the lockout. Do they keep him and get nothing for him, or do they take whatever they can get for him? This is going to be really tricky.
$1 million question, and the same dynamic goes in with Casey Mize. The Tigers aren't going to re-sign Tarek Skubal. I would hope that everybody understands that by now. He has priced himself out of what the Tigers want to spend, and I think that's part of the reason why they went and got Framber. To me, the bigger question, as we said earlier, is, do you spend the presumable 10, 11 million per on Casey Mize? And a lot of people think that he could get anywhere between 10 and 12 million a year. Do the Tigers do that? That's the $1 million question. Now, when it happens, there are some people, I know Bob Nightingale, one of the national guys, said that, it isn't a question anymore about whether he's going to leave the Tigers. It's when they're going to get rid of him. If an opportunity presents itself at trade deadline, especially if you're faltered back like you are right now, I think you jump on it. I really do.
Tigers end up being buyers or sellers before the trade deadline?
Seller. Yeah, I
agree with you.
Seller. I don't think they're going to be in it, and I think they're going to sit back and say, what can we get for Tarek Skubal? And if they feel that they can't get Casey Mize back at a reasonable price, yeah, I think they sell.
Sean, what are your thoughts on the 2026 Detroit Pistons overall? Obviously, a 60-win season. They got through the first round against Orlando. Unfortunately, they just ran out of gas and played probably their worst game of the year in Game 7 against Cavaliers. I just wanted to get your overall thoughts on this Pistons team.
Yeah, you know what? 60 wins? Come on, from where they came from and everything. A big not yet for the Pistons. Game 5 is the one that really got to me. It really did. And you had a lead, you had an opportunity to really put a stranglehold on this series, right? And in the last minute and 33 seconds, you take not one, but 2 shot clock violations. And the opportunity was there to take it, and they didn't take it. And obviously, we know what Cleveland did there. Now, to their credit, they bounced back and got the big win in game number 6. But about as ugly as you're ever going to see in regards to losing at home and in game 7. I mean, it was, Chris, I'm sure you watched the same thing that I did. It was non-competitive. It was they could have won, they got it up to 40 something. They could have won by 50 something. Really, that's kind of what it was that day. So a lot of work to do yet. A lot of big decisions to be made, but Cade came one step closer to that rarefied air of the NBA. As well as I do, you really make your name in the NBA by what you do in the playoff and what you do on the biggest stage. So he wasn't ready to do that yet because everybody was going to look at Game 7 in particular. But with that being said, you certainly saw a step in progression for not only Cade, but for the Pistons as a whole.
And they also got 2 rounds in, and they also won a number of home games too. So there's a lot of positives. Game 7, I think they're just gassed out. I'm not making excuses either, but I just think they've never played so many playoff games, and I just don't credit Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland was ready to play and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of positives about this Pistons team. But Langdon didn't really do much at the trade deadline other than trade Ivy to Chicago for Kevin Huerter, and he wasn't much of a factor for this team. So, and Tobias Harris had a few great games where he looked great, but he at the rest of the series he struggled, and I don't think they should give him a big contract if he resigns with the Pistons. I think Harris would be more efficient off the bench if he stays in Detroit next year.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. It really is, because you're talking about a guy that, as far as I'm concerned, in Duren, we can't write him off yet. That's going to be a guy. He's still only 22 years old. When the season starts, he's going to be 22 years old. And I like Unk as much as the next guy. I mean, he's kind of taken on a cult-like figure, but this is also going to be a guy who's going to be 34 at the start of next year. And 34 in the start of next year, that's aging, no doubt about that. Even though James Harden, to his credit, turned back the clock a little bit. So certainly some big questions, but I think the key is exactly what you brought up, and that's Langdon, welcome to the club. You got your free pass. Hey, this was cool. You got your 60 wins. Wow, golly gee, we made it to the second round. And now that spirit of expectation has kind of floated over the Pistons, just like everybody else. And I hope that he isn't hesitant, like some of the general managers in this town are hesitant.
Now, I've heard some silly talk on social media. JB, Brett Bickerstaff, he should be fired like Rick Carlisle was when Larry Brown took over. I do not see Bickerstaff going anytime soon, especially when Gores is still paying Monty Williams a number of millions of dollars for another 4 years.
No, I agree. Sometimes you have to take the pulse of the room. Those guys love JB. JB has gotten their back multiple times, and that's one. No, I don't see that. Now, listen, fast forward to now, and if the Pistons find themselves in the same position, maybe that's a conversation that can be had a year from now. But right now,
Do you see the Pistons organization in the offseason addressing the team's need by free agency and possibly the NBA draft?
It's got to be via free agency, because I think as well as I do, the picks outside of 20 they aren't worth a lot. They really aren't. They aren't worth a lot, especially later you get in the first round, because there are guarantees on there. So I think if Trajan's going to seriously improve this thing, let's see how creative he's willing to get, and some pieces that maybe he can jettison out of here along with the pick or something to try to sweeten the pot to get some guys that fit.
How much of an impact was Jaden Ivey? Obviously, they trade him, and he's got some issues off the court. But him not developing, how much has that hurt the organization?
It's hard to say. I haven't heard it. It's hard to say, because I think in some ways they were able to also go like this at the same time, because they figured out who they are. And I think Cade figured out who he is, and he's this close. He really is. He's this close. And I say this all the time. I know fans, you're always so quick. You want to call your own a superstar. Hey, Chris, guys like you and I lived in a world where people hammered Michael Jordan because he couldn't get it done in playoff time. I remember people saying, you're never going to win a championship with that Darren Michael Jordan thing like that. So I think in one regard, it allowed the Pistons in kind of a backdoor way to, dare I say, take a step up.
And sometimes you have to learn to lose before you can win, because even in the 80s, the Pistons lost a number of times before they finally got over the hump. And even the going to work Pistons, they had a couple of setbacks before they won in 2004. And by the way, the game 5 against the Cavs, how they melt down and blew that 9-point game, that sort of reminds me of game 5 of the NBA Finals against the Spurs, where the Pistons, if they won that game 5, I believe they would have repeated as champions in 05.
How do you leave Robert Horry alone? Sheed, we love you. Thank you for the memories, but how do you leave Robert Horry alone?
And you know, one thing too I've learned, Sean, it was a great year for the Pistons, but every season in sports is different and there's no guarantee. So hopefully the Pistons in the offseason will make the right moves and they can get to that next step as well.
No doubt. There's going to be some work. I mean, the next step is the difficult step. Ask the Detroit Lions. Hey, a lot of success, but there's a big difference between, golly gee, we made it to the NFC Championship, winning the NFC Championship, and then, of course, winning the Super Bowl.
Well, look at the Eagles last year. They were supposed to repeat, and they got put out in the first round by the Niners in Philadelphia, and now they're retooling as well. So every year is different in sports, and I tell people that there's no guarantees. But I do feel the Pistons organization under Tom Gores, finally, I think they're heading in the right track as well. Sean, do you got a couple more minutes for a couple quick questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, finally, I just wanted to get to a little hockey. Just quick thoughts on the Stanley Cup playoffs between Colorado and Vegas and Carolina and Montreal.
I think you saw in game 1 just how important Makar is to Colorado. And that's part of the NHL today. You know, you need that guy that can move the puck out of your back end. It's become so integral. Let's see what kind of pushback Colorado has tonight. I'm always going to pull for Wedge. You know, he was goalie when I was doing the Whalers, so I'm always going to pull for him. The Habs are a fascinating story, Chris. They dominated Carolina this year. They went 3-0 and they had their way with them. If this was the first round, if this was the second round, I would legitimately take the Habs to pick this series. I think they're a very tough matchup for Carolina. As structured as Carolina is, I think the Habs speed gives them fit, and you saw it last night. How much longer can the Habs go, though? I mean, they've played 14 games already, 15 if you include last night, multiple overtime games, and I get it. They're so young, 25 years, 3-month the average and everything, but you really have to wonder how much is left in the gas tank.
They are 4-0 against Carolina this year, including the regular season, and they haven't lost a game to the Hurricanes since March 28th, 2025, and Carolina is 1-17 in their last 18 conference games as well. But I do expect Carolina to bounce back, because you do not want to go 0-2 and then having to go to that crazy Bell Center in Montreal for games 3 and 4. So I do expect the Hurricanes to bounce back. And as for Montreal, a lot of the Sabre fans, they had a great year. And to me, the Sabres remind me of the Pistons. They came out of nowhere and won 50 games and won the number 1 seed. They feel they're better than the Habs, but Buffalo, they only won 2 out of the 7 games at home. You're not going to go to a conference championship or a Stanley Cup when you lose a majority of your playoff games at home. And I tell Sabre fans, you're going the right way, but the Sabres just aren't there yet. Same as the Pistons, different sports, but similar stories.
Yeah, and you know, the interesting thing about it, I don't know how many people paid attention towards the end of the year. You know, the boys got in a heater. I mean, Suzuki ended up over 100 points. Obviously, Cole with the 51 goals. And Dobish is a guy, I was telling buddies of mine, well over a year ago, I know the infatuation with the Quebecois, and they were infatuated with Sam Montembeault. And anybody who watched the Habs on a regular basis would tell you that Dobish was better. Now, Dobish has done this year. I mean, really in the last month of the year. I mean, they made a goaltending change and they settled some things down for him, and he really took off. That's the one thing that really hurt Buffalo, I think, in particular. You know, when you have to rely on Luukkonen and Lyon, I thought that was a huge advantage for the Habs during the series.
They didn't have a number one goalie. They basically had a goaltending committee, and that can work in the regular season, but the playoffs, you need that number one hot goalie, and that's something Buffalo, I feel, needs to address as well. Hey, Sean, as we wrap this up, I just want to get your quick thoughts also on the NBA playoffs. Do you feel the Cavaliers will have enough left in the gas tank to overcome an 0-2 against the very well-rested and motivated New York Knicks team?
No. This is Jalen Brunson's time right now, and I hope he enjoys his time, because I don't see the Knicks or anybody else in the East beating whoever comes out of the West. I think it's OKC or San Antonio all the way, but Jalen Brunson is just on a different level right now. So no, I think the series is going to be over quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I got Knicks in 5, and I've got Oklahoma over the Spurs in 7 games. And as for NHL, I'm still going with the Avalanche over Vegas in 7, and Carolina, Montreal, I'm going to go with Carolina in 6 games.
Yeah, you know what? I had Colorado, so I'm sticking with them. I'm kind of wavering after I saw what I saw last night, because what I saw last night was what I saw during the regular season. The big question with Montreal is how much is left in the tank, and maybe because they're so young, maybe there's a lot left in the tank. I think we'll find out the next couple nights.
And Sean, what's the latest on Woodward Sports and your new co-host on the morning show, Neil Rule?
Yeah, Neil Rule is the longtime voice of the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Does a fantastic job. He and I have known each other for quite some time. Also calls for Detroit FC here, and we got a new old show in the Crunch Time guys, and you got the heavyweights that are in there. Braylon Edwards that's in there. McCarty's still popping in. Terry Foster's still coming in. So literally something for everybody at Woodward Sports, and we love it.
And Sean, where can our audience follow you on social media and the best way of contacting you?
Sean P. Bally. You can hit me up on Twitter and Facebook. Those are the only things, the only 2 things that we do, Chris. And I love to have conversations with people. Sometimes we go back and forth, but I would like to believe I'm never going to be disrespectful to you or anything like that. It's sports. We're all going to disagree, but so I'd love to hear from you at Sean P. Bally, Bali, on Twitter or Facebook.
And when's your next podcast show with Matt Shepard off the air?
We're doing a playoff one from my basement, and then Shep and I think the next one that we do is Monday night. Yeah, Monday night. So same thing, it's just fun. Shep is an old friend of mine, obviously called the Detroit Tigers for a while, called Michigan Michigan basketball for a while. So a lot of fun working with Shep.
And by the way, quick shout out to the Kitchener Rangers getting to the Memorial Cup for the first time since 2008. They'll be playing in Kelowna, BC starting tonight as well. So congratulations to the Kitchener Rangers. They needed a couple former London Knights in Sean O'Reilly and Jarrett Woolley to help them along. But it's nice to see another team besides the London Knights get to the Memorial Cup from the Ontario Hockey League.
No doubt about it. Congratulations to Kitchener for sure. Boy, even hearing you say that, I remember that 2018 playing his day. And, like I said, I was doing Whalers at the time and everything. So a lot of fun back then, some of those Ranger-Whaler matchups.
Hey, Sean, I want to say thank you so much for giving us a little more than a half an hour of your time. And I really appreciate you coming on the show a number of times. I've done now 712 episodes, and I really love what I'm doing. And it's the guests like yourself that make a great talk show. And been very lucky with opportunities.
Oh, hey, listen, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. I love some of the stuff that you put out there on social media. So keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. And hopefully one day I'll be able to get back to Michigan, because I would like to take you up on going to a Wayne State game. And I assume you're going to be back as the voice of the Wayne State Warriors football team this year.
Yeah, I don't even know. You're 19, I think. So yeah, I've been there a long time now. So yeah, it's kind of weird how that plays itself out.
Well, congratulations. And Sean, thank you so much for coming on here. And hopefully next time we have you on, we can talk something more positive about the Tigers or the Red Wings. And the Red Wings, that's another team that's a long story too. We could do a 3-hour show on that.
You got it anytime. Hit me up, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Have a great afternoon, and happy Memorial Day holiday to you and your family in the States on Monday too.
Thank you very much. Talk soon, buddy.
You too. All right, everyone, that wraps up season 13, episode 52, overall 712 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership here in Guelph. As we wrap up the show, guys, I'm going to play a little clip from the Butter Tart Festival this past week. Her name is Amelia Tickeram. She is the founder and owner of Omni's Sweet and Treats Media. Amelia Tickeram. She's the founder and owner of Amelia's Sweet and Treats Butter Tarts, and she has one of the best butter tarts in Ontario. And this is courtesy of my YouTube channel, Chris Palme, Live with CDP Talk Show. Subscribe, like, and share. And I had a great time at the Butter Tart Festival in Paris, Ontario, just outside of Brantford this week. And we're going to play this interview right now with Amelia Tickeram. Chris Palme here live at the Paris Fairgrounds in Paris, Ontario for today's Butter Tart Festival taking place on Saturday, May 16th and Sunday, May 17th. Can I just get your name, ma'am?
Omala from Omi Sweets and Treats.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
So I've been a baker for over 25 years, and just in 2018 we started getting more into butter tarts and coming out and doing festivals.
Other than the weather today, what are your thoughts on this event, other than the weather?
It actually is not a bad day today, right? Excluding the weather, right? People are still coming out. People love their butter tarts, and they'll do anything for butter tarts.
How did you come about starting up your own business?
So I used to do cakes, right? Do decorated cakes, right? But your clientele is really small in that way, right? And I love to be out, right? Love to meet new people, right? And there was somebody who told me about butter tart festivals, right? Because I used to work in hospitality, right? And I just started. We created our, formulated our own recipe and everything like that, and started.
How many flavors of butter tarts do you have currently?
Okay, today we have 16, but I've created over 30 flavors that we rotate throughout the whole year.
What are some of your most popular ones?
Our fan favorite is turtles, salted caramel, and s'mores. And my personal favorite that I created is a chocolate peanut butter because it replicates a Reese's peanut butter cup.
In your opinion, from your experience, what makes a good butter tart?
Number one is love. If you don't have love in your butter tarts, it doesn't matter. You can make as much butter tarts as you want, but if you don't have the heart and soul into it, then your customers won't feel that.
What's a fun fact about yourself and a butter tart, which is a Canadian staple?
Fun fact. I don't know that one. I don't know. That one's a little difficult fun fact.
Do you have any plans to expand your business or any upcoming festivals you'd like to tell us?
Oh, yeah. We have a lot. We have Midland Butter Tart Festival. That's the biggest one in June. That's our Christmas, right? We have Chatham, and we do one out in Ottawa, which are great ones. We are looking to doing a website so customers can actually order, and we ship our butter tarts.
Where can people find you on social media currently?
Omi Sweets and Treats on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
And by the way, I did try your blueberry cheesecake butter tart, and it was delicious. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you so much for doing this interview, and continued success.
Thank you very much.
That was Omni Tickeram, founder and owner of Omni's Sweets and Treats, and she makes some of the best butter tarts in Ontario. And again, I had a great time at the Butter Tart Festival at the Paris Agricultural Fairgrounds this past weekend. And May 30th, 31st, they will be having another festival there, a taco and cheesecake festival there, brought to you by the folks at All Canadian Events as well. So thank you so much to Amelia for doing that interview with me. And we're going to have her come on our show in June, and we're going to talk about more butter tarts and how she got into the butter tart making and what makes a good butter tart and some of the festivals she's been at as well. I want to say thank you to Sean Baligian, the co-host of the morning show on Woodward Sports, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., along with his new co-host Neil Rule. for coming on here today as well. And as we wrap up the show, guys, if you're in the Guelph area and you like pancakes or great breakfast food, check out Jack's Pancake Factory. Jack's Pancake Factory, located at 257 Grange Road here in Guelph, or go onto their website, Jack's Pancake Factory Guelph, or their Instagram page. They have the best pancakes as far as I'm concerned, not just in Guelph, but in Canada as well. So if you like great breakfast food, especially pancakes, check out the folks at Jack's Pancake Factory, 257 Grange Road here in Guelph, and you can Google them at Jack's Pancake Factory. And they have another location in Barrie as well. So if you're watching this show or you're listening and you're in the Barrie area, check out Jack's Pancake Factory in Barrie as well. And as we wrap up the show, guys, I have another special announcement to make. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is going to take place on Monday, May 25th. Happy U.S. Memorial Days to my friends and family over in the States. Monday, May 25th at 11 a.m. with special guest Ashley Stewart. She is an author, a content creator, and she is also a public speaker as well. So Ashley Stewart will be back for her second appearance on our show. And again, she is an author, a public speaker, and a content creator. And look forward to having Ashley Stewart on. So if you're in the States and you're looking for something to do on Memorial Day Monday, check out Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show again this Monday, May 25th at 11 a.m. with Ashley Stewart. And as we wrap up the show, guys, as always, right now at Barry Cullen Chevrolet, an adventure starts with an EV check for your electric vehicle, a health check package check. Each package includes a complimentary barbecue utensil, barbecue season now. It also includes a 12-volt battery condition check, a 70-point vehicle health check, a tire rotation, underbody wash for $239.99 for cars and trucks. More details at barrycullen.com or call the dealership at 519-824-0210. This offer ends on May 31st, 2026. So you have an electric vehicle, EV, get it checked out with an Adventure Start package with Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership, and make sure you talk to Andrew in service as well. Barry Cullen Chevrolet has a great selection of brand new GMs, pre-owned GMs, a great selection of all electric EV vehicles, as well as Cadillac vehicles as well. So if you had a EV right now, go get it checked out at Barry Cullen Chevrolet with their Adventure Start package, and you even get a barbecue utensil thrown in there as well. Again, $239.99. And Barry Cullen Chevrolet is a proud sponsor, advertiser on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. As we wrap up this show, guys, if you'd like a personalized video message from yours truly, go to cameo.com/Chris Palme. I do happy birthday, happy Hanukkah, happy anniversary, congratulations, anything within reason. So book a Cameo today, Chris Palme, and look forward to doing your requests. You can follow me on Blue Sky Social. Blue Sky Social is what Twitter X used to be like. At Live with CDP19 on Blue Sky Social, and I do post a lot of content there as well. If you're looking to adopt a pet, there's no better place to check it out. The Cambridge District Humane Society, located at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the pets that are up for adoption, their pictures and profiles are available there as well. And Michelle and her staff do a wonderful job looking after our homeless furry friends and ensuring they get put into good homes with good families. So if you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge District Humane Society. They're saying at the Cambridge Humane Society is, you can't buy happiness, but you can adopt it. And always remember, adopt, don't shop. And they do a wonderful job down there at the Cambridge District Humane Society. So either pop by them, they're near the Cambridge Center Mall at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. You can follow my website at beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme, all my social media sites there. My past episodes with my talk shows and guests are on there as well. And if you want to learn a little bit more about me, go to beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme, and some of my best interviews are on there as well. You can also follow this content creator on TikTok. Yes, I've been on TikTok for over 5 years at Chris Palme. Go to my TikTok page, Chris Palme, follow, like, and share, and check out my latest Toronto Argonauts training camp interviews as well. I did one with Akili Arnold and Jonathan Kabongo yesterday, along with Cameron Judge and Isaiah Smith. So if you're a fan of the Toronto Argonauts CFL, check out my latest Toronto Argonauts training camp interviews that are posted on my TikTok page at Chris Palme at TikTok. And let's get Chris up to 1,800 followers. I'm not far away from that as well. StreamYard is, again, the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars, live streaming, podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans, paid professional plans, and if you're a business that does a lot of webinars, go to StreamYard.com and contact their sales department for more pricing. And yours truly has been a customer of StreamYard.com for the last 5 years. I give them a big thumbs up. As we wrap this show up, guys, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the audio version is on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. And remember to subscribe, like, and share. Finally, guys, you can email me at Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback would be greatly appreciated. And also, if you like my YouTube channel and you like my content and my talk shows, I am on paypal.com. Go to paypal.com at Chris Palme if you'd like to contribute and support my YouTube channel and some of my talk shows that I do as well, or book a personalized video message, again, from yours truly at cameo.com/Chris Palme. Finally, guys, you can follow me on Facebook, X, Threads, LinkedIn, Blue Sky Social, everywhere except Snapchat. And also remember to check out my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Talk Show. Subscribe, like, and share. And also check out my YouTube shorts as well. I have all my media interviews and clips and snippets from my talk shows as well on my YouTube shorts. And to those people who are already subscribed, thank you for subscribing and watching my show, which has now got 750,000 viewers. So thank you so much for watching my show as well. And also I got another comment here from Adam Batucci, who's been on my show a couple times. Speaking of the Pistons, why do people give Kobe Bryant a pass for not winning that series in 2004 and failing to win a finals without home court advantage? Doesn't make sense. The Pistons were clearly the better team, and their defense shut down Kobe and Shaquille O'Neal. The Pistons made up for the 88 title. The Lakers in 88 stole that title away from the Pistons, so that 2004 title was kind of karma as well. And to be honest, Detroit was a better basketball team. They were a better basketball team. And Kobe did go on to win a couple more championships after that. So to me, Kobe is one right up there with Michael Jordan as well. And before we wrap up this show, guys, we've got some sports going on tonight. And just bear with me. We've got NHL Stanley Cup playoffs going on tonight. I believe game 2. Vegas in Colorado, 8 o'clock. Vegas is up 1-0 in the series. Colorado really needs to win this game too. You don't want to go to Vegas down 0-2. I still think the Avalanche are going to win this series, either in 6 or 7. And then NBA playoffs tonight, we got Oklahoma and Spurs. That series is tied 1-1 at 8:30 tonight. I feel the Thunder will win this series in 7 games, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Spurs defeated the Thunder as well. That's going to be a great game. To me, that's the real NBA Finals right there. And then Major League Baseball tonight, the Detroit Tigers, who are struggling big time, take on the Baltimore Orioles at 7:15. Can the Tigers break their losing streak? They're 9.5 behind Cleveland and for the Central Division lead, and they're a couple of games out of a wild card. So if the Tigers can just put together some kind of winning streak, they could get back into a wild card spot. But this Tigers team is a dumpster fire right now as well. And that is about it today, guys. I want to say thank you to Sean Baligian from Woodward Sports for coming on here today to talk Tigers and Pistons with us and to get his thoughts on the Stanley Cup and NBA playoffs as well. And I want to say thank you to you, the audience, for watching this show on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram, and to my to my listeners on my audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available. So please continue to spread the good word about my show on video form and audio form. And I look forward to my next show on the U.S. Memorial Holiday in the States on Monday, May 25th at 11 a.m. with special guest Ashley Stewart. She's an author, content creator, and public speaker as well. I hope everybody has a great weekend and enjoy the professional sports going on with the Stanley Cup playoffs, the NFL playoffs going on, and also the CFL preseason starts up tomorrow as well. There's 4 games going on Saturday, May 23rd. The main one is the Argos and Tiger Cats, 4 p.m. kickoff, Hamilton Stadium. I believe the Argos will be live streaming the game with Mike Hogan and Ben Grant. And the Tiger Cats radio broadcast will be on the Tiger Cats audio network pregame at 3 p.m. with Rick Zamperin and Simone Lawrence and their crew with their pregame show. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. And if you're also a fan of the Toronto Argonauts and the CFL, please check out my content. I do a lot of freelance media coverage of the Argonauts, and I just did a couple more interviews yesterday as well. So check out my Argos coverage on all my social media platforms as well. That is about it for today, guys. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And we'll see you back here Monday, May 25th, 11 a.m. with Ashley Stewart. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks again for watching live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership and hosted by yours truly, Chris Palme.